Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. Today, we're kicking off with a discussion of how the business model of the internet is changing thanks to AI, LLMs, ChatGPT, etc. And specifically, we're looking at new data from SimilarWeb that shows just how quickly the flow of web traffic is changing. The report found that referrals from ChatGPT are growing rapidly, but not fast enough to offset the decline in clicks. From the launch of Google's AI overviews in May of last year, the number of so-called Zeroclick news searches rose from 56 to 69%. These searches terminate with the users finding their information within the AI summary, as opposed to, of course, heading off to some other website, which was always the bargain of search engines. Yes, you can index our websites in exchange for sending us traffic. Well, now you're not necessarily sending them traffic. Over the same period, organic traffic to news sites dropped from 2.3 billion to 1.7 billion, a 25% decline. Interestingly, there was a huge spike in traffic last summer, maybe a result of outrage over Google's AI features, but that quickly died off as users shifted to getting their news direct from AI overviews. Simultaneously, news-related prompts in ChatGPT grew by more than 200% since January of last year. During that time, referrals to news websites from ChatGPT grew from less than 1 million to more than 25 million. This suggests that there is a new behavior happening where ChatGPT users are clicking through to the original source, but it is not enough to replace the traffic that's being lost from Google. SimilarWeb also noted that search rank isn't translating into web traffic in the same way it used to. Some SEO consultants have noted that impressions have completely decoupled from clicks, threatening in some ways the entire premise of SEO. Digging into individual news sources, the sites experiencing the most additional traffic from ChatGPT are the biggies: Reuters, the New York Post, and Business Insider. SimilarWeb also looked at the most searched topics for ChatGPT as a news source, finding that stocks and finance were a combined 54% of news-related prompts, with sports and weather being at 17 and 15% respectively. Economics, politics, and tariffs were also above 10%. TLDR, the AI format is absolutely having a foundational impact on the consumption of news. Users seem to be moving away from passively consuming curated news stories towards a more active exploration of current events, which, if you're an optimist, could breed a lot of new opportunities. Certainly not without some challenges in the meantime, though, and that is, of course, I think the story with basically all the changes of AI. We have a very optimistic future and a very chaotic in-between, and how well we navigate the in-between is going to dictate a lot about how well we get to enjoy that future. If nothing else, there is a new bonanza for people who are designing entire new businesses around generative engine optimization, or whatever term you want to use for it, so expect a lot of entrepreneurial activity there. Now, speaking of Google and AI overviews, the company is facing a new antitrust complaint in EU after publishers push back on those AI overviews. As we just discussed, the doomsayers' take on all of this is that the business model of the web has been fundamentally undermined. And in the EU, publishers are not sitting around and passively letting this happen. The Independent Publishers Alliance argued, Google's core search engine service is misusing web content for Google's AI overviews in Google Search, which have caused and continue to cause significant harm to publishers, including news publishers, in the form of traffic, readership, and revenue loss. The complaint noted that publishers have no ability to opt out of AI overviews without losing their ability to appear in traditional search results. Google, however, is maintaining their position that AI overviews is net new demand for search, stating, new AI experiences in search enable people to ask even more questions, which creates new opportunities for content and businesses to be discovered. The reality is that sites can gain and lose traffic for a variety of reasons, including seasonal demand, interests of users, and regular algorithmic updates to search. Still, while Google is denying the impact in the press, their actions do suggest that they know that back-end changes are required to sustain the open web. Bloomberg, for example, reports that Google is considering modifications to their shopping experience to comply with the EU's digital markets regulations. For travel and e-commerce searches, Google is considering including a drop-down menu of various offers that link to external websites. And although fines and lawsuits may be flying, there is still a general recognition that the era of 10 blue links is coming to a close. Even if Google buckles to demands, consumer preference is shifting towards AI search, and many other companies are poised to take advantage. Andrew Yan, co-founder of AI search startup Athena, said, companies have been spending the last 10 or 20 years optimizing their website for the 10 blue links version of Google. That version of Google is changing very fast and is changing forever. Like I said before, there are going to be so many interesting entrepreneurial innovations in this space. For example, optimizing for agent searches instead of human searches. But for now, again, this in-between period is going to be very, very messy. Next up, some big acquisition news. Grammarly has acquired AI email client Superhuman as part of their transformation into a full productivity platform. In a press release, the company said that drafting emails is already their number one use case, so in that way, the acquisition makes a ton of sense. Grammarly will now have a native platform for using their core product. Still, their ambitions go much further. The company wrote, Grammarly is evolving into a productivity platform for apps and agents, moving towards a multi-product company with hundreds of intelligent task-specific agents. Email represents the ideal environment for this multi-agent assistance, with professionals spending more than 3 hours daily in their inboxes and email remaining foundational to any productivity suite. And I think, hold aside the details, you now have multiple labs racing to put together their own productivity suites, basically wanting to own a distribution channel for their agentic workflows. Joy Guo writes, feels like all single-feature SaaS will need to pivot, e.g. Airtable becomes App Builder, become multi-feature, e.g. Grammarly acquires Superhuman, or die. Still, some couldn't resist a little bit of a joke. YC founder Hendrix Liu writes, Superhuman plus Grammarly. Now your emails will be fast, perfectly punctuated, and still ignored. Next up, following up on the fallout of Zuckerberg's big poaching expedition, Ilya Sutskever will be taking over as CEO of Safe Superintelligence following the departure of Daniel Gross. In a post on X, Ilya confirmed that Gross has signed a deal to join Meta's superintelligence team as one of their key leaders. He also announced that former OpenAI researcher Daniel Levy will be elevated to the role of president. Addressing rumors that Meta had attempted to buy the company, Sutskever wrote, you might have heard rumors of companies looking to acquire us. We are flattered by their attention, but are focused on seeing our work through. We have the compute, we have the team, and we know what to do. Together, we will keep building safe superintelligence. Writes TechCrunch, naturally Gross's departure may raise questions about the startup. If safe superintelligence was close to its goal, surely a groundbreaking technology as it's described, why would its co-founder leave to start something new, seemingly at Meta? And this is a really interesting question. I think assuming that this has much to do with where Ilya and his startup are is a little bit dangerous. I think Future Search founder Dan Schwartz has the right of it when he writes, Nat Friedman and Daniel Gross joining Meta seems odd, but what would you do in their position if you were completely superintelligence pilled? They want A, a zillion GPUs, and B, a seat at the table. Zuckerberg can offer that. Lastly today, if you are keeping track of pricing norms, Perplexity has joined rivals in introducing a premium $200 a month subscription. The big selling point for Perplexity Max is unlimited access to the Labs feature. Introduced in late May, the feature allowed users to spin up custom dashboards, web apps, and assorted documents within the platform. The goal was to shift Perplexity away from being just an AI search engine towards being, you guessed it, based on our previous conversation about Grammarly, an AI productivity suite. Max also offers early access to new features, with the company's soon-to-be-released agentic browser being the first on offer. So now we have OpenAI, Anthropic, Cursor, and Perplexity all offering this $200 a month super premium subscription. This will be a huge test of Perplexity's user base to see how deep the devotion really goes. In other words, is the average Perplexity subscriber just a super user who's also subscribed to everything else? It seems much less likely that that type of user is going to jump from $20 to $200. Instead, the people who are going to be willing to spend $200 for Perplexity are more likely to be people who are actually using their specific features in a core way. For that reason, I think it's a good move, even if it doesn't have all that many subscribers, in that it's extremely valuable for Perplexity to understand who their core users really are. Anyways, if nothing else, interesting to see how people are gravitating towards this $200 number. For now, though, that is going to do it for today's headlines. Next up, the main episode.